I just want to speak to you a moment about Toronto Neighbourhood Centres. We're an association of nonprofit, multi-service organizations that are dedicated to strengthening local neighbourhoods and enabling diverse communities to work together to promote justice and a healthy life for all. Neighbourhood centres are dedicated to empowering neighbours to work together to meet local challenges and create shared approaches to building community. They provide a crucial focus and support for community development and address the needs of their area by integrating services, capacity building, and social reform. So tonight's discussion is made possible by a grant from Trillium. For 3 years, the TNC Trillium project has explored shared models and innovative ways of providing services by working in all 6 areas of interest to members. So for 3 years, we've worked in the areas of interest and we've worked with different working groups that looked at consortium bidding, shared back office and joint purchasing, social enterprise for low-income communities, service integration, network-level human resources, and stewarding successful mergers and integrations. This is the final year of our project, and tonight's forum is hosted by the Mergers and Integrations Working Group. And that group is composed of our chair, Bill Sinclair, who unfortunately can't be with us tonight, Karina Luoma from Dixon Hall, Claire Barsick, I don't believe Claire is here either, from Neighbourhood Centre, Michelle Knoll from Oak Park Neighbourhood Centre. Is Michelle here? No. And our able facilitator, Lydia Monaco from St. Stephen's, who is, there she is, and myself from CNH. Our research project was led by Jamila Aman.
It was a privilege to be part of the Merger and Integration Working Group and to lead this research project. I'm going to give you a 20-second crash course that nobody gave me, so that when you're doing your integration and merger, you don't have to think about anything. You just remember me, but make sure I'm trying to patent this idea, so make sure you don't use it until you pay me. So I'll tell you. If you're thinking of merger and integration, all you need to think about is most of the time opposite to real marriage. Remember the theme of today? It is till death do us apart. So when you're thinking about marriage, remember the things that you do. So think of the opposite of that when you're trying to merge and integrate. So you do the opposite, and I guarantee success. But make sure this is not patented yet. So I'll give you 3 examples, or 2 examples. When you're dating, you date one person, right, in real life. But on mergers, you do the opposite. You can date 5, 10. So this is one of the ideas. The other idea is you can only get married legally to one person, right? You can get married to 5, 10 people. So that's your second idea. The rest of it, call me, and when you pay for it, I'll give you a list of 10 items that you can do. There are approximately 170,000 nonprofit organizations of various sizes in Canada, and half have charitable status, and the other half don't have charitable status. This is according to Imagine Canada. Okay. The facts in the nonprofit sector, the ever-increasing competitiveness to access limited funding available from government, foundations, and other donors had left many nonprofit organizations in a sink or swim situation. This is according to Bloomberg 2009. So a lot of organizations are struggling, sink or swim. Some get funding, some don't get funding. It's extremely competitive. So we're looking for different ways of doing business. So business is not as usual. So to cope with that, nonprofits are exploring the possibility of joining together through mergers, integration, MSO, amalgamations, and collaborations. Okay? The options for merger and integration. There are different options available for mergers and integration. Some of these options provide greater autonomy, while others lead to a greater integration. So there are different modules that we can look at. Okay? For a merger, just for us to be on the safe side, I know you are brilliant and you are more brilliant than I am, just for us to be on the same page. So the merger occurs when 2 or more separate nonprofits come together to form one organization. Either they form a new entity or they join the larger organization mostly. So that's what happens in a merger. Here is integration. Integration is defined as the combining of all or a significant part of 2 or more organizations. Here is a management service organization. I have two different explanations for management service organization. It's an entity created to provide management, program, and administrative efficiencies to other organizations. Another definition of NMSO is an entity that under contract provides services such as facility, equipment, staffing, contract negotiations, administration, marketing. Service may be provided to solo practitioners or groups. Here is a Wood Green Community Services Toolkit. There are 8-phase integration processes. And I thought I'll just bring this one to determine the readiness of leadership, governance, and resources, to hold initial discussions about shared vision of the integrated organization, to perform due diligence on major issues and risks, prepare a business case to the board for approval for the integration. Not a lot of boards are ready, so the readiness has to be done. Engage stakeholders for approval of integration, enter into a binding agreement, implement the integration process, and review the process, document lessons learned, and report back to the stakeholders as required. So these are 8-step, best practices from the Wood Green Toolkit, and they're fantastic points. I'll tell you a little bit about the data collected on the research project that I was commissioned to. So the data collected, some under general, financial, human resources, governance, communication, conflict management and mechanism, risk management, anticipated or not. The research report, the TNC, Integration and Working Group, decided that it's not going to be another academic paper, but it's going to be something practical. So the issues will be identified, recommendations, resources, or next steps. So here are the merger integration benefits: improved administrative and program efficiencies, increased client reach, stronger financial foundation through increased funding and shared costs, and broader program service call. Okay, so these are some of the challenges. High costs. It costs, like the 7 organizations, between 100,000 and 200,000. So keep that in mind. Union considerations. Some of the mergers have different unions. One particular had the same union, so it was easier. Name and branding changes, loss of some staffing positions, inclusion of major stakeholders. So it's very difficult to be inclusive in all. Minimal time and resources to perform evaluations. Okay. So the champions, I just want to spend 30 seconds on the champions. For most of the mergers, the champions were the executive directors, except for one group where the champions were the board of directors. The strongest advice was include your executive director.
Avanti Goddard has over 30 years of management experience in the healthcare industry. Avanti has provided leadership and project management expertise to organizations that are transitioning to meet Ontario's new vision for the creation of an integrated health system. She has worked with associations such as the Ontario Long-Term Care Association and the Ontario Community Support Association, among others, in delivering various programs related to accreditation, quality, risk, and governance. Avanti used the analogy of a relationship from being single to dating to marriage to emphasize the different approaches to integration. What to think about when going from being single to dating, and then from dating to marriage, and finally, how to sustain that marriage. John Wilkinson is a partner with the law firm Weirfolds LLP, which combines service to both non-profit, charity, and for-profit business sector. His corporate and commercial expertise includes mergers and acquisitions, governance, contracts, employment, policies, risk management, access to information and privacy, just to name some. John used a 5-finger analogy to show how to manage merger risk by paying attention to the type of merger, performing necessary due diligence, knowing the stakeholders, and having proper exit strategies and alternative dispute resolution, knowing the individuals impacted and the implementation of timeframes. Depending on how risk is managed, 5 fingers creates a fist or a handshake or even a high five. Susan was a member of the Integration Planning Committee during the early stages of the integration between Dixon Hall and Mid-Toronto Community Services. Going on a canoe trip was the metaphor Susan used for navigating the unknown waters of integration. Having a map, a plan, teamwork, and paying attention to the signs are all vital for the success of the integration journey. Susan continues to volunteer her time and talent with the newly integrated organization Dixon Hall Neighbourhood Services through her committee work. Annette Katajamaki is the Executive Director of the Canadian Mental Health Association in Sault Ste. Marie Algoma branch. She has been active locally, regionally, and provincially in broader health system planning and project implementation with a multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary focus. Annette spoke about the need for one agency for the Algoma Sault Ste. Marie area. In her presentation, she gave an example of a failed integration. The failure was mainly due to it being forced by the funder, as well as lack of attention to such things as budget, values, timelines, and governance. She touched upon the negative and positive outcomes of the failed integration experience and the success of the integration once the agencies integrated on their own terms.